My name's Anne Kinny and I'm currently enrolled in the Graduate Diploma of Legal Practice at Australian National University, and I'm doing my practical legal training at the Northern Rivers Community Legal Centre. The supervision at NACLC is, in my opinion, quite good. You're not hovered over, you're not helicoptered, you're given enough independence to go and do the work, but there is a large bank of solicitors that you can ask a question at any time. I get to sit in on advice, so the solicitor will provide the client with advice, which is very handy. I then get to write the client advice file notes, so going through all the factual background, the instructions of the client and the advice that we give the client. I then get to do research if it's required. Often involves going through a large amount of files trying to find documents. I also write letters to clients on behalf of a solicitor. I find the work at the centre very rewarding and fulfilling. The reason is that you're helping people who really do need your assistance, and one of the issues that really became apparent to me in one of my first weeks was you'd often see a case or a client file where it was really complicated and you think, oh my gosh, but that's the point of the centre, is really helping people who need that. I didn't really have a lot of expectations or truly an understanding of the community sector before I started at Northern Rivers Community Legal Centre. I thought I did. I really had no idea. So on working here, it's actually sparked the notion in me to go more and more so into the community sector. A highlight of mine whilst working at the centre wasn't an individual moment, it was a series of events. So when you're dealing with clients and you're reading their files and you're drafting them letters, these are all different people. They don't come from a particular background, they don't always come from the same socio-economic demographic. What it really made me realise more so is that you don't know anyone's story, and you don't know what events have impacted them in their life to get them to a point where they are now, to a point where they don't know how to deal with the legal issues that they're presented with. The skills that I've improved upon since working here is surprisingly research. You tend to become more succinct in researching certain issues. You don't have hours in the day to sit in front of a computer trying to find the information as you would as a student. The second thing I think I've gotten better at is my writing. Mainly having confidence and really standing by the way you write. The skills I've developed is actually in terms of files and compiling files correctly. It's something I knew nothing about. You would always see these huge files in courts sitting next to solicitors, and I'd often think, oh my God, what is in that? Now I understand that there is a process. It's actually quite understandable, it makes sense, it's logical. My communication skills in dealing with clients from culturally or linguistically diverse backgrounds, you really need to be aware of your speech, your manner, the way you describe things to people. Sometimes you think the most logical way of saying something is the easiest way to explain it to a client. I've learned that it's not. And you really need to listen to the client, how they're communicating. I felt that throughout my placement at the centre, you were given the opportunity to improve and you were challenged. What I really liked is this didn't happen in the first week. You were given tasks and they said, great, would have changed these little things, but you've done a good job. What I'm finding now, the more that I've been here and the more work I do, I'm getting really good feedback. So deconstructing something I've written and saying, content's great, let's move it around. And for me that's great because you really don't know. You know you've got the information, you know you've got the content, but you don't know the structure, you don't know the form, and you don't know how other precedents would act. I felt that during my time at the centre I was challenged to improve on what I was doing. I've noticed in the first 2 weeks of work you were given really good feedback, really positive feedback, and all that feedback was valid. The more work you do, They get to realise and notice what skills you have, what capacity you have, what ability you have, and whether you could improve.